Hello, welcome. We're representing Performance Group Interneal. This is Marina, I'm Arne, and we're going to talk a bit about a project we're doing right now. So we're in the middle, it's all a bit raw and improvised, and we're not really presenting a product. And this is called Mirror Stage. It's part of a larger project called Glühende Landschaften, as glowing landscapes or pastures in a way. And we have been basically working with, this works, it's true. We have been working with internet propaganda, online propaganda, radical political propaganda from different spheres and collecting a lot of this stuff over the last years. It's a growing collection, it's virtually growing every day because there's a lot going on at the moment. And this is just one of the nicer examples. We first, after researching the material, we can analyze and categorize this in various ways. First time for political orientation. I'm not going to go deep into that. You can see that on the display that I got. We kind of mapped all the different scenes that are active. And we're concentrating very much on right-wing propaganda and a bit of jihadist propaganda because that's the political scenes that have been most successful during the last years and will certainly be more successful during the next ones. But I'm not going to talk too much about that. You can also categorize the different material we were collecting formally. There's a lot of text-based propaganda, there's image-based propaganda, there's a lot of interaction, dialogic propaganda that's playing out on the social networks. And there's video messages, and this is something we concentrate on in this project. That means people who send word out to the other one, to the crowd, a very undefined public on the internet to spread the word about what needs to be done or what must not be done anymore. And there's a lot of performative elements to this material that make it interesting to work with. And I'm first going to talk about a bit those different elements of this, and then talk a bit about and maybe kind of show some examples of how we work with it and how we can, say, artistically make a product out of this material that goes beyond just showing it again. But first, let's talk about video messages. It's become quite fashionable for people to sit down at home and just talk to the webcam and via the webcam talk to the crowd on the net to kind of spread messages about what they like to buy, what they like to do every day, or what they would like other people to do. Some kind of political entertainment. Mostly it's done at home, sometimes it's done outside, and it usually involves dialogic processes. YouTube is the largest social community on the web, really. There's other videos, of course, that document speeches that are given on the street. So we have a transport that goes in two directions. There's online the call for manifestations, for physical engagement in the real world, so to say, and everything that takes place in the real world and is of political importance gets fed back into the net and serves as a propaganda message there again. And this also describes the span between two key elements that makes working with this propaganda material interesting for us. That is the face, that is of crucial importance when you do a video message, because this is the element you really put on the screen and work with, that's your capital. And the bodies that assemble in the so-called physical work and get called upon. And I'll talk about it a bit more. There's one element to a lot of material that is, of course, for people like us who come from the theater, very interesting. Like this jihadi guy who had been posing with a mask and the gun and all the jihadi things before, and then did a second video message where he was trying to impersonate a really good German citizen in order to talk to the public in front of this red curtain, a very theatrical thing. You find a lot of this to work with. Then there are significant actions, significant places that get chosen that have a symbolic value and work upon this dichotomy of body and face, like burning your passport somewhere in the German woods or on the steps of the Reichstag or somewhere else, which has been a political action that gets repeated over and over. Because in the internet, which is basically a copy machine, things get trained and repeated and repeated and reenacted again. So this is another thing we can kind of connect to as theater art artists that are basically repeating and reenacting things all the time. And another very interesting element to a lot of material is a special kind of reflexivity you find almost everywhere, because when I'm talking to my computer or to the webcam, I'm basically talking to a mirror, and I'm seeing my own image, even when I'm talking to the camera and preparing a message. Or the image is talking to me because I'm in the position of the audience then. It's a really complex and nice situation that then twists when you upload a message to the web. And you can see it quite nicely here because you have the camera in the bathroom mirror, and the image of the guy who is talking about, I will show an example of him later, is cascading into eternity there. And things get even more complex when some video becomes viral, like this one did. So there was a German comedian who reenacted his video and mocked him on the TV, and then he used the TV show again on his YouTube channel. So the cascade really spans different publics, so to say. It's a very complex relationship to work with, and hard to do in theater. That's usually quite simple in the relations to audiences. And part of this is because if you work on YouTube, you're basically an entertainer. You work in a commercial infrastructure that works on an attention economy, and people who work there politically are a new kind of political entertainers, really. You cannot discern the political and the entertainment part. It just merges and becomes one, and became a new genre recently, where people can be really successful with their videos. And this, of course, is interesting for theater as well, because it's basically the same. You can see it, for example, when people are performing a very intense, emotional relationship and message, and at the same time work really hard to stay in the frame, because they know what images they produce and how they work. So we have a lot of theatrical acts to work with, and the question is, how do we work with it? I'm going to show a few examples. Before I do that, I want to just show the video message we were talking about earlier. Maybe we can hear it.
Hallo liebe deutsche Frauen, Mädels und Damen. Nach den Ereignissen in Köln, Stuttgart und Hamburg zu Silvester und allgemein nach der Einwanderung hunderttausender kulturfremder Männer nach Deutschland im Sommer haben viele Frauen Angst vor Vergewaltigung, Verbrechen und Gewalt gegen sich selbst und gegen ihre Lieben. Und sie rufen nach dem Schutz ihrer Männer. Liebe Frauen, ich bin hier, um euch zu sagen, ihr habt es selbst in der Hand. Eure Männer werden nicht kämpfen, wenn ihr es nicht wollt. Eure Männer werden euch nicht beschützen, wenn ihr sie nicht wieder zu Männern macht. Eure Männer sind nur aus einem Grund passiv und schwach, weil ihr es so wollt. Ich möchte das erklären.
Wir sind vom islamischen Staat, wir sind vom islamischen Staat, wir opfern uns für den Dien.
So one element we have often worked with in performances is physical reenactment of videos while keeping the source present to be able to compare physically what is happening there, some kind of embodiment. Because working with face and identity is one thing, but working with physical presence is another one. And I'm going to show you a video with some material we've been worked with, and we try to demonstrate it and elaborate over time, and where we progressed on the way from this to make our first steps into virtual reality things. Can we play the video? Thank you.
Hallo Schwerin! Hallo Mecklenburg-Vorpommern! Hallo Deutschland! Wo sind die Patrioten? Wo sind die Freunde des deutschen Vaterlandes? Wo sind die Gegner des hemmungslosen Asylmissbrauchs? Die Gegner der Islamisierung? Gut so, wir sind über 700, klasse, danke für jeden von euch!
So what's interesting with this kind of material, apart from the fact that it's really a fun thing to bring it to other spaces and mirror the relationships, we're kind of a bit of a background noise from there because it's really soothing for me because I listen a lot to this kind of stuff. To bring it into, to recontextualize this material is of course an interesting thing for us. Like we have an audience here, we're being on stage here, so there's a lot of relations going on. And if you work on a video to copy it, what's more interesting than to make a perfect copy of it are the differences of the original and the copy. Because the way propaganda works is that it travels through acts of copying and produces different artifacts. So the natural body on stage and the one in the video, of course, will have slight discongruities. We did a project in February this year in Haus der Kulturen der Welt where we employed this reenactment process for motion capturing, because if you do a motion capture for a video game, you basically do the same thing. You do some movements to record them. So we invited the audience to work with us and try on a motion capture suit and have a virtual body, because there was a virtual environment with glasses and all that fancy stuff around. But the deal was they had to copy some videos for us. And we gathered some material through this process. So what you see here on the right side is one of those copies, and you will see that there are some congruities and some discongruities because the person was seeing this video for the first time and was probably not agreeing with what was being said there and the whole situation of being watched while reenacting it. So this is some nice material, and it's one of the points I would like to make, because working with technology as performance artists gets interesting at this moment when you not only employ technology to create a result, but examine the processes of employing it as performative actions themselves that can produce a lot of performative value, which was certainly the case at this time. But then we started to play around and give this movement a new body and see what we can do with it. And then we kind of, not knowing where to go, started to design a bit of a virtual world for all those people to inhabit. Usually people ask me a lot, what do you do this for? And that's how we know that we're treading in a new territory there, because in theater usually people don't ask that. But apparently here in the immersive arts, things need to have a bit more purpose or need to be explained a bit better. I cannot deliver this now, but I would like to make a computer game out of it. I would just want to show you a bit of what we've been working with lately. We have a first-person player, you won't see it now, but we have this nice landscape. Can we put on the volume up a bit again?
Dem deutschen Volk, dass es seine Interessen hier artikuliert, dass es seine legitimen Rechte hier ausspricht, und er verhindert, dass wir unsere Freiheit verteidigen bis zum letzten Atemzug, Freunde.
Das ist Rotfaschismus, Linksextremismus getarnt als Demokratie. Und nebenbei erwähnt, Demokratie ist Herrschaft des Pöbels. Ne?
Salafisten! Ihr habt keine Ahnung! Und ich bin auch kein Rechts! Kein Nazi! Nazi-Regime ist von Merkel!
Ihr werdet nur erniedrigt, meine lieben Geschwister. Ihr könnt euch nicht sicher sein, dass es halal ist. Ihr könnt euch nicht sicher sein.
Warum wollt ihr das, dass wir hierher kommen, oder?
Und wenn wir Multikulti haben, dann treffen wir uns immer auf den gemeinsamsten, niedrigsten Nenner. Das heißt, wir treffen uns dort, wo die beknacktesten Vollmongos sich befinden.
Versteht ihr, liebe deutsche Frauen, Mädels und Damen? Eure Männer sind nicht schwach. Eure Männer gehören zu den größten, stärksten und edelsten der Welt.
Wenn es keinen Führer gibt, aber der Führer hat gesagt, ich bin der härteste Mann Deutschlands und ich bin momentan der härteste Mann Deutschlands und ich kläre eure Scheiße. Ich werde euch in die Verbannung pressen. Das könnt ihr schon mal sehen. Das weiß ich.
Freunde, wir verkörpern den gesunden Menschenverstand und wir werden uns am Schluss durchsetzen.
Allahu Akbar. Diese Brüder hier, sie schlachten. Ich lade euch dazu ein, auch herzukommen und zu schlachten, die Kuffar zu schlachten.
Der Jude im Schafspelz. Wenn ihr da unbedingt mitmachen wollt, gut, okay, ist ja eure Sache.
Habt ihr euch mal angeschaut, was in Deutschland für Giganten herumlaufen?
Deutschland und vielleicht Weltsieg heil.
Danke Schwerin, danke Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, danke Deutschland.
Thank you very much.